Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Ninjago. Today I'm going to be ranking the 7 parts of Dragons Rising, starting with Dragons Rising Season 1 Part 1, all the way up to Season 4 Part 1. Now before we get into the ranking, I just want to say like, comment and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys for the support on the last 2 videos. We both got 100 views on both of them, which I really appreciate. And before we start, just remember, make sure to comment if you disagree or agree with any of my opinions. Alright, let's start with number 7. Now, this may be controversial, but at number 7, we have Dragons Rising Season 3, Part 1. I think Part 1 is the biggest culprit of what I would call the Dragons Rising problems, you can call them, which are basically just problems that I've noticed in most of the seasons. That being time wasting, pointless and annoying side characters that show up way too much, lack of development for the characters that need it or not positive development, and just a bit of bit of lack of direction. There we go. I think the biggest problem with this season is that it does not follow up on Season 2 well. It doesn't feel like a through line, it feels like another path, if you get what I mean. We built up in Season 2 the fact that the Forbidden Five were this massive threat and they were going to be the main villains of Season 3, at least Part 1. Then we get the set images around November of 24 and we see Thunderfang, which did start to raise some eyebrows, made me a bit worried, but I thought maybe he'd be a side character. Then we start getting some clips and stuff and we find out Thunderfang is the main villain. And this is when my worries really started to rise. Then we got episode descriptions. And yeah, my fears were even higher. My main fear was that this season had way too much and did not give itself enough time to deliver on it. For example, this season had a lot to do. They started looking for Jay. They have the stuff with Aaron, Lloyd looking for Aaron and stuff. They have Zane. They're meant to give Zane a whole arc. They're meant to give the Forbidden Five a bunch, but they just sort of don't. I think the reason for this, you can see, is the first 2 to 3 episodes do not connect well with the season, especially episode 1. You could skip this episode, let's be honest. What are they called? Lightning tides are extremely annoying. And I was really hyped for the Nia and Kai looking for Jay storyline that was established at the end of part 2 of season 2. And it goes nowhere. They literally start looking for Jay, find the lightning tides, get caught, escape, play some stupid video game, then just join the main plot again. They literally have no more. They start at 0 at how likely they are to find Jay. They don't improve at all. They see he plays the game, but that doesn't help at all. It doesn't make sense. There are positives with this season, of course. It's not a 0. It's like a 6. Moro, very well done. I really liked how they did Moro. They didn't ruin his character. It fits well with how he was in Day of the Departed. Really enjoyed that. Animation, spectacular as always. Some of the Forbidden Five are cool. Noct, Drix, Kerr when she's in it. But this is our main problem. The villains aren't who they're meant to be. The Forbidden Five were meant to be top 5, at least, Ninjago villains. And they're not. They're not at all. They're bottom tier Ninjago villains. Because we just forgot about them. And they're just henchmen to Thunderfang. And they get betrayed at the end. Which is such a cliche trope. So, without going into too much more detail, I just feel like the biggest problem with Season 3 Part 1 is it didn't deliver on what Season 2 built up to. Okay, let's get into number 6. And at number 6, we have the other part of Season 3 Part 2. I do enjoy this part, but to me, if I had to describe this part of the season, I'd probably say meh, or forgettable, or it's there. It just doesn't stand out. I don't know. There's not really that oomph to the season that makes you want to rewatch it or keeps it in your mind all the time. There is great stuff, particularly Jay. I'll be honest, the main reason why part 2, is over part 1 is Jay and the Lee stuff. Because to be honest, I don't really care about the Cole, Kai, Frack stuff. They're some of my favorite characters, but I just think it's really meh. There's not much to it. It's pretty weak. But I really enjoy the Land of Lee stuff. I think it's really interesting. It's sort of like the Truman Show, where you've got this guy who seems really good, and they're in this like dystopia kind of world that's perfect on the inside, but then literally you look outside and it's just grey, and there's a bunch of tombstones there. And I do like it sort of raises a question with Raz, which I think is really interesting, of did Raz actually think Aaron's parents were dead? And I like to think he actually did know they were dead, because that would make sense. But then again, Jay could have told him. Who knows? We'll talk about that in another video maybe. But I think the biggest reason why this season isn't last is Jay. Jay is great in this season. Best he's been since probably since maybe Skybound, maybe Prime Empire. I don't know. He's pretty good in this season. Not as good as season 4, but I really enjoy Jay. I love his dynamic with Nia. I do think his comeback and fighting Zark is a bit rushed. I would have liked to see an in-between scene between him leaving Nia and coming back. Maybe it could be 10 seconds, just something of Jay where you don't forget him and then he's back. This season does have problems though. I think the main one, the Forbidden Five. Are they even in this season? Are we calling them the Forbidden Five? They're literally just ghosts. They're nothing. It does not help Season 3's case in terms of redeeming the Forbidden Five. Which, you could blame that on part 1. You probably should. But this season doesn't help. And last thing, what was it? It was pretty important. Did I forget? Let me think. I don't like the retread of Thunderfang. That's not the main thing, but I don't like how we're just retreading Thunderfang. He's not that interesting. He's barely in this season. I reckon if you looked at his screen time before the last 2 episodes, it'd probably be under 5 minutes. He's just not that interesting, and he cannot carry a season for 2 parts, let alone 1 part, to be honest. So I think this season's really lacking on the villains, aside from Lee, who carries in terms of villains. Oh, okay, here's the other thing. Pixel. I did forget to mention Pixel in the part 1 part, but that helps my argument. Did Pixel need to come back? What does she do? She makes the vehicles, but Zane could do that. Nia could do that. I just feel like they brought back Pixel for nothing, just to make Zane happy, but he's not even with her half the time, and we don't see it. So, yeah, not too big on this season. Alright, let's go to number 5. We have Dragons Rising Season 1 Part 2. For this being the first ever Part 2, it really delivers on the continuation of the story and developing a larger story as a whole. Specifically with some of the mysteries that this part goes into, being Cole's quest with Master Wu, which isn't delivered on, I'd say, but it's a good setup. Jay, what's going on with Jay? Why is he in a suit? Why is he playing video games? Why is he there, basically? And a smaller one, but the mystery of the crab, what's controlling the crab, which doesn't really go anywhere, but is a mystery. And obviously the main mystery of what is the merge, which we learn a little bit more about. We still haven't fully learned about it, but we are getting details in this season, did push it forward. This season this part really strives on character development, I'd say. There's just little scenes that give the characters stuff we needed. Obviously, you've got the Kai scene with Wildfire resembling what Kai was in the earlier seasons of the original show. I like how we learn how Kai's changed, with him giving the little training lesson about the forms that he learned when Nia was lost to the sea. They literally gave him more development than Crystallize did in that whole season. They gave Kai more development in that probably 1 minute scene, which is pretty good. I like the stuff they do with Zane as well in this season. Not much, but I like how he's sort of having an identity crisis, because it does align well with how he's been written. The constant, just robotic sense of Zane, where he doesn't feel like a human that he used to. I like how they sort of acknowledge it, even if it's not fully continued until probably season 4, and he's kind of gone the opposite in season 3. But I like this setup for that. I like seeing Cole back. That episode's a highlight. The administration episode is a highlight. It's just such a unique location for Ninjago, and even though now it's probably a bit overused and not as interesting, back at that point in 2023, when we first got that episode, that was a fresh new place in Ninjago and was really interesting. And the last big thing with this season is the final battle. I really enjoy the final battle. I think it's animated great. I love the scenes with Beatrix with the mech when she's got her hands out and Lloyd, Zane, and Nia are fighting her. That's sick. I love the Wildfire and Kai thing where they blow up the wrong place and eventually they blow up. They blow up the shoulder armor store? Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that stuff. This season's pretty funny. Best scene. Nearly forgot to mention it. Best scene is the one take it's 18, episode 18, where like Zane jumps down and it's just such a well animated one take. That's probably my favorite scene. It's so good. Episode 18 might be my favorite as well. I love seeing the stuff with Raz and Beatrix, and we see Zeatrix, who I feel like it might just be me, but I feel like even in that little scene we saw of Zeatrix, that is not the same character we got in further seasons. But that's not a problem with this season. So overall, very enjoyable part of Dragons Rising. Now let's go on to number 4. At number 4, we have our first mention of Season 2 in Season 2, Part 2. This is a very enjoyable part of Dragons Rising. Obviously, the main focus of this season is the tournament, and it's really good. I would like to see a tournament at some point in Ninjago that's not rigged, but this tournament is still really fun. You get a lot with Lloyd. Sora winning the tournament is very good. It completes her arc of her not believing in herself. And there's a lot to enjoy in this season. I'd say my main highlight is probably Raz and Aaron. How you slowly see Aaron start to lose his faith in the ninja, starting with Sora. And then the part where Lloyd says he'll eventually look for Jay, and then Aaron questions the same thing because Lloyd said he'll eventually look for his parents. You start seeing the cracks in Aaron's belief in Lloyd, and obviously it ends with Aaron running after Raz, which is a huge twist the first time I saw the season, because obviously there's that part in part 1 of season 2 where Raz fights Aaron in the wilderness, but that seemed like something that would maybe develop in later season 3 where Aaron would turn on the ninja. But to get it so quick felt right. It didn't feel rushed though. I like how it kind of feels like a snap decision for Aaron where he doesn't know what to do and he just makes a rash decision to join Raz because he feels like that's what he needs at that moment. So that's a great scene. I love this. I like the stuff with Kai and Bonzel. I do wish we got Kai in the tournament because the way his fire powers look in part 1, I just think it would have been great to see him in the tournament. But not a big thing. Obviously, we get Zeatrix back. As I said in the part 2 of season 1 bit, I don't like how Zeatrix is written, to be honest. To me, the character we see in the flashback is not the character we see in season 2. I feel like they sacrificed the character to have that little twist that the visions that Lloyd was having and all the stuff around her, that it was Zeatrix. I feel like they did that just to have that twist, which is kind of lame because it is a twist, but it's kind of predictable. Like, obviously, as soon as she gets the invite, you go, oh, well, that can't be Beatrix because she literally mentions all the time how she doesn't have powers. So I don't really enjoy Zeatrix that much. I like her fight with Lloyd, specifically Lloyd's focus with that part. But yeah, not a big problem. I don't like how Cinder is in this season. He's just forgotten about, sort of. But they do make up for that with Noct. Noct is the reason why the hopes were so high for the Forbidden Five in season 3. I remember we heard something from Doc Wyatt I think it was, he said, maybe he didn't, but I'm pretty sure he said Noct was the weakest of the Forbidden Five. And I mean, we saw him in action. He destroyed Tox. He nearly killed her. Like, he beat Sora pretty easily once. He beat Sora pretty easily. So, yeah, well, it just built up the hype for the Forbidden Five a lot. So, overall thoughts on this part, very enjoyable. Maybe the most rewatchable part because of the tournament. And really, my main thing with this season is it really set up the future of Dragons Rising well. Did that future deliver, or you did see my thoughts in season 3, but for this season, if you take it, or this part, if you take it as that, it's very good, very enjoyable part. Great addition to season 2. Doesn't hit the highs that the first part of season 2 does, but a very enjoyable season. Obviously, you've got this stuff, probably the highlight of the season for me, Kai coming back and fighting Noct. Sick fight, really good. Each character does get their moment, sort of. Probably not, but they get a bit to do, which in other seasons, some characters aren't even in it. So I enjoy that. I like seeing Jay. We finally get more than a minute of Jay, which is good. And yeah, very enjoyable part of Dragons Rising. Good addition to the story. Okay. I think it's time. Let's talk about number 3, which is the first ever installment of Dragons Rising Season 1, Part 1. A great introduction to this show, and to be honest, it saved Ninjago. I'm going to get into this part as a whole in a sec, but just before that, I just want to say that this season means more than just a season or a part. Sorry. This brought back Ninjago for a lot of fans, and I think that's something that needs to be highlighted. Crystallized was very dividing for the community. I feel like there's a lot of things that Crystallized did that really soured people on Ninjago. For me, it was the stuff with Harumi. I feel like we'll get into this in a separate video in more detail, but just generally, I feel like Harumi is a character that's made to not be redeemed, and having her redeemed just felt gross to me. I don't like it. Like, it's something that should have never happened, and kind of soured my opinion on Ninjago, where I was like, ugh, I'll give this new show a look, because I hope you guys remember this. That first teaser of the merge, well, we didn't even know it was the merge, but the ninja in their core suits and the world splitting apart, that 30-second teaser really got me. That was so interesting. That's probably the greatest teaser Ninjago's ever had, because it was brand new. We did see Aaron, we see little Aaron for a sec, but when you see that teaser, all you're thinking is, what could this possibly be? Which I think is genius. And they delivered on that. The merge is an incredible addition to Ninjago. It instantly makes Dragons Rising different to every previous season of Ninjago. And the opportunity for stuff like world building, new characters is endless. And they really capitalize on that. For example, the Crossroads. The Crossroads is something that couldn't happen in original Ninjago, because it's just not, it's Ninjago City. They have the Serpentine there, but then there's people. Now you have Frohickeys type, I don't know what species he is. You have the Skeleton Warriors from Master of the Mountain there. You have Melopians there. You have people. Just all types of stuff there. And I really enjoy that. One little thing that I did forget to mention, mainly for Season 1 Part 2, I do not like Dorama. Fortunately, he's not in this part too much, but his introduction, it's nothing, but I just thought I'd mention this in this video. I do not enjoy Dorama in the slightest. I don't think he's funny. I just think he's lame. I don't like Dorama. But this part, really good. Brought back my hope for Ninjago and kept me a fan up till now. Where, say this didn't deliver, this season, specifically part 1, probably the most pressure a Ninjago season has ever got, or Crystallized, but I would probably say even more, because you have to follow up Crystallized which is such a divisive and community tearing sort of season. And I feel like this season really did it, because it's not the best Dragons Rising season, but it's just good. It's really good. You get a lot of stuff with Lloyd, the rightful arc for Lloyd, which is the Master Lloyd arc, which should have started years ago. It should have started in 2016, and it started in 2023, which, at least we're starting it now. But that's a great arc for Lloyd, and they're still continuing it to this day. Aaron, great new addition to the story. Finally, we get a main character who doesn't have powers, and let's pray he never does, because it's a great addition to the cast to finally have someone that, obviously you can relate to the main ninja, but Aaron literally is more relatable. He doesn't have powers. He's just a run-of-the-mill person that's a ninja fan, which obviously we can relate to. We are fans of Ninjago. Sora, her introduction I don't really like. She when I first watched her, I was like, oh, I'm not going to like her, but you really start to like her. Specifically those episodes in Imperium where you get the flashbacks and you realize how mean her parents are, and how, to be honest, dumb and just blind they are to what's actually going on. I think that's a really interesting aspect of her character. Ryu, I haven't mentioned Ryu this whole video. He's good. I feel like we could be doing more with Ryu as a whole for Dragons Rising, but he's fun in this part. Obviously, he gets the most to do because he's powering Sora. We get our introduction to Wildfire. Great character. I love her. Like, squabble with Kai where they both think they have the same power. That's really good. All the introductions to the OG characters are great. Nia, I love seeing her. The little argument with Lloyd, that's great. Kai, seeing him back, just feels great. To be honest, it just feels like classic Ninjago mixed with new Ninjago, which is really good. Yeah, with that being said, that's mostly my broad thoughts on Season 1, Part 1. Let's go to number 2. We have the latest addition to the Dragons Rising catalog, Season 4, Part 1. Now, before recording this video, I was unsure what to put at number 1, and to be honest, I'm still going back and forth. But I think because of the time I've had to sit with the season that's number 1, which you'll know by now, I'm just going to give this number 2 for now, and we'll see how it ages. Maybe I'll do another one when Season 5 comes out, or when Part 2 comes out. I'll see how different my ranking is then. But this season is very high quality. One of the best parts of Ninjago we've gotten in years. To start off with, my main positive, every single main ninja gets something to do. Lloyd, obviously, he's got his whole thing, his journey discovering himself and his powers. Aaron, not as much, but he still gets something to do, mainly with Euphrasia. Zane, huge highlight this season. Actually got something to do, and finally feels like a human being. Obviously, he's an android, but previous Zane never felt robotic like he did, specifically in Season 3 when he's got that big form and he's saying, let me think, he got swole or whatever. That is not Zane, and it feels really forced and just not human, which obviously he's not, but you know what I mean. Zane finally feels human, which is a huge pro. Euphrasia, not too much to say about Euphrasia. A great addition to the cast. Does help that group feel a bit unique, because we've seen the pairings of Zane, Aaron, and Lloyd before in Season 1. So I do like her addition to it. Just add something new to it. Highlight of the season, though, arguably, is Jay. Jay is great this season. You could argue his memories are a bit rushed, but they do kind of go back on it a little bit by him slowly getting them back. And we'll see how it pans out in Part 2. But I don't have a big problem with them discovering his memories in Episode 3, because there's so much going on in this season that they have more to do, which I like. Kai and Nia, not too much, but I just enjoy them being there. Kai has a lot of funny moments, and obviously Nia's got a lot of moments with Jay, and is one of the main reasons why Jay is so good in this part. So, obviously, yeah. And Sora's group, this was the bit I was nervous about, because it's just like, Obviously, you've got the Lloyd group. Lloyd's there, and you know what he's doing. It's the journey with Lloyd, which we want to know. We want to know. Jay, we've been missing Jay for like 2 seasons, and we only just started getting him a lot in season 3, so we want to see more Jay. Whereas this group, I felt like it had the most potential to just be boring and like, oh, can I skip it? And why is this here? But it didn't. It really felt like it needed to be in this season. Specifically, Frack shines in this part for me. The stuff with his dad is really good. I feel like lots of people might relate to that, having different dynamics and stuff. And we finally actually get something for Frack to do. I like his dynamic with Sora a lot more in this season than in season 3. They feel like they're finally starting to understand each other, even though they're very different characters. Obviously, Sora rebelling against her parents, where Frack would never dare do that, which is a good thing to explore, I think. Wildfire, she's just Wildfire. She's fun. I like her. Ryu gets a bit to do. We get his evolution, so that's pretty good. There is a problem with this season. It's pretty obvious. We are missing Raz. Raz is such a highlight of Dragons Rising as a whole, and him not being there, it's felt like it's a really good season. But imagine if Raz was in it. Like, this season would probably go from a 9 or a 9.5 to a 10 easily for me, because that's just a clear thing that makes me not put it at number 1. I'll be honest, that's probably the main reason. I do really enjoy the villains in this season though. LaRose, alright. As I said in my review of this season, her motivation's a bit dodgy. Like, I get it, but I think there's other things she could have done. The Loyalists, I really like the Loyalists, how they've sort of infiltrated every place in Ninjago, like the administration and the Explorers Club. I really enjoy that. Even Umbra Silvers, they infiltrated Umbra Silvers. I really enjoyed that. Beatrix, she's good to have back. She's still not a standout villain, but I do like how she's a bit more manic and monstery. I think that's a great addition to her character. So, positive there. Elemental monsters, very cool. Not much to say about them. Good designs. Final battle, very good. Draconis forms. We need to talk about Draconis forms. They are sick. Really good. I'm glad that they're going to be returning in part 2, because I really enjoyed them. And probably my highlight for this season is Enemy Lloyd, because I love season 8. You guys probably know this. I really like season 8. And a standout scene in season 8 is the scene where Harumi finally reveals to Lloyd that she's the Quiet One. This scene feels eerily similar. Obviously it's different, but I think they even play the same music that they play in that scene. And I just love the idea of Enemy Lloyd. Originally I didn't like that he had the same suit as Lloyd, but when you think of it how I've started to think of it now, it makes complete sense. Enemy Lloyd isn't a real thing. He's more of a creation of everything Lloyd thinks negatively of himself. And you see that in the battle. Whenever Lloyd pushes back against the ideas of Enemy Lloyd, he's winning. But whenever Enemy Lloyd's pushing his ideas of Lloyd being a failure onto Lloyd, he's beating him up. And I do like how Lloyd kind of fails, because they build up that Lloyd will probably fail, and he does, but he still succeeds in the end, which I really enjoy. So without going into too much more, because I have been talking about this season a lot, and I have a full review out that I want you guys to watch if you want to see my thoughts. This is a very good part of Dragons Rising, and arguably could be number 1 with more time. But with that being said, let's talk about the actual number 1, which is Dragons Rising Season 2, Part 1. Now, before I talk about the season in general, I just want to say this might come from more of a personal thing for me. This season came out at a part of my life where I was really into Ninjago, and just, a good part of my life. So I associate this season with it. So that might push the bias, but I'm pretty sure most people agree that this is the best season of Dragons Rising. So let's talk about why. First off, Kai is incredible this season. Kai being my favorite character will push me to like this season more. But even if Kai wasn't my favorite character, I would still be so impressed by how he's handled this season. The first couple episodes, we see how his dynamic with Wildfire has grown. His relationship with her has grown. He's become more protective of her when she hurts herself. Then we see his relationship with Nia when he's struggling to unlock his rising dragon technique and she helps him. We see that beautiful flashback scene in the blacksmith shop when they're playing the game. It's so good, man. This season is so good. You get stuff for all the characters again to do, which is a big thing for me about Dragons Rising. Obviously, I spoke about it just before talking about season 4. When all the characters get something to do, you're instantly going to make me like this season more because it shows that you have a clear idea of what every character wants to do and you're not unsure what to do, so you're just writing characters out. So, let's start with the little stuff. Let's do Cole and Zane first. We'll do that quick. Good side plot. Obviously, the main plot of the ninja training is so good that anything else kind of takes away from it. But I still enjoy that season. It's got a very classic Ninjago vibe. Obviously, Cole and Zane, classic Ninjago duo. Their whole part reminds me of the episode where Zane wears the pink gi. Basically, that's how it feels to me, with a Dragons Rising sort of spin on it, which is great. Bonzel is a really good character. She goes from kind of a nothing character in season 1 where you just think, oh, she's cool, but, there's nothing to her. Like, you just don't think about it. Where now you think of Bonzel and you go, geez, she might be a top 10 Ninjago side character. Like, she gets a lot to do in this part, and it's all really good. I really enjoyed Bonzel this part. Now, we've got 2 more parts of this to talk about. Let's talk about the main ninja team. I love Eagle and Ron too, specifically Eagle, but both of them are so good. I like the twist that they can do spinjitzu. Like, we've never seen a dragon do spinjitzu before, and it's really cool. I love their different ways of teaching, where Eagle's a lot more strict, Rontu's a bit more understanding. I like how they're just great characters. Like, I really enjoy them. The standout characters this season, there's more than 3, but the 3 real standouts, Kai, Lloyd, and Aaron. Let's start with Kai. Kai, I spoke about it before, but he's just really good this season. Like, he gets so much to do. That fight where he takes out Cinder with Rising Dragon, where you think he can't do it, is so good. Like, he's just really good this season. Where he's with Sora and Wildfire on the bounty, and they're freaking out, and he sort of takes more of a mentorship role, and he's got the situation under control. It's just good, man. It's just so good. Aaron is a standout this season. It's really tough for Aaron. Like, it's very relatable. I find that he's just not getting it. Like, consistently through the season, he's just not good enough. He thinks. He probably is, but he just doesn't feel like he's good enough, and nothing is helping, and he keeps messing up, and it keeps getting worse. The rock goes in Eagle's eye, and Eagle freaks out. He gets demoted to the level with Sora and Ryu, who know nothing about spinjitzu, which was demoralizing for him. He gets beat up all the time. He keeps talking about how he wants elemental powers, which, side note, should not happen. I will be very annoyed if Aaron gets elemental powers ever. That needs to not happen. Anyway, sorry about that little side note. But Aaron's great this season. You start getting the little seeds about the Raz and Aaron thing, with Raz telling him, I used to be like you. I used to be weak. That my master taught me strength. You start to sow the seeds in very, very small, but you start to see it. And Lloyd this season, what a continuation from season 1. Lloyd is so good. They give him so much to do. The anxiety thing with him getting the visions is so good. He's so paranoid the whole time, and you can tell it's actually affecting him. Like, it's affecting him during the fights. He literally freaks out when he sees the wolf warriors at the start when they're with Cinder. He's so good. And then the other bit of Lloyd where he's just paranoid. Like, you've still got him being a master as well, and he's questioning whether Aaron and Sora are ready and whether it's the right thing to do to let them go into battle against such a big enemy like the Forbidden Five. Speaking of which, Forbidden 5, I hate to say it, this might be their best season and they're not in it. Just the way they're spoken about, just it's different. Like, and the introduction with Noct is really good. It's there's a lot to like in this season. Like, I can't think of, my only thing is, as I spoke about before, I do not like Dorama, so any mention of Dorama is just gonna annoy me a bit and make me I don't skip Ninjago, but makes me disinterested. But that's such a minor thing. Like, who cares? Yeah, let me think. Is there anything else I gotta talk about? Yeah, Jordana, good this season. I like how they slowly, which they build on in part 2, slowly start to build the Sora and Jordana sort of making up sort of thing. They kind of slowly build, sorry, to that, which I like. And Raz, this is Raz. This might be Raz's best season. See, he's good in season 3. He's a highlight in season 3, but he's really good this season. Some of the highlights when Jordana fails him and he runs after Aaron just before they have that fight. That's just great. Him talking to his master, we finally learn a little bit more of his master, which I like. I mean, I could go about this season for days, but I think we'll cut it there. Now, before we wrap up the video, if you guys would like me to do individual reviews for seasons, similar to what I've kind of done here, but just in a lot more detail, maybe like a 20-minute video on a part of a season, let me know, because I'll do that. Like, you can tell, I like talking about this. I'm down to do that. So, please, if you guys enjoyed that, let me know what type of videos you want from me in the future. My next video will probably be about part 2, because we've got the set images coming. If the set images come out this week, that will be the next video. But if they don't, then the next video will be discussing part 2. We'll go into some detail about the Never Realm maybe coming back, a little bit about Akita, the no new suits, what's Raz up to, will Beatrix come back, Sora's parents, stuff like that. We'll get into a big detail about that. We'll have a good discussion about that. But I think that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know your thoughts on my rankings. Did I get anything wrong? Was I too harsh on season 3? I don't think so, but would you change anything? Was my number 1 right? Do you think season 4 deserves to be number 1? Did I put it too high? Let me know your thoughts. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.